First of all, welcome to the channel and thank you for stopping by. When time permits, please consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it. Welcome to East Tennessee, and one camera I'm holding with an omnidirectional mic. We're a little bit low on our production values today because I'm in Tennessee visiting here for my wife's birthday. I didn't bring a lot of equipment with me and I don't have a lot of time. However, Greg over at the Bearded Grump recently asked the question, lead acid or lithium for batteries? And I posted, hey Greg, I know the answer, it's lithium. And I thought I would just go ahead and do a really quick video and show you that the answer, it's lithium, is not based on anything other than years of experience. Let's go take a look. This will take 30 seconds to show you why I went to lithium for my bikes about 3 years ago. Now, what we have here is my 2014 286L, because it's been upgraded and I can't stop saying that. This bike came to me 6 years old with the original, I think a Yasuo or something like that battery. And that battery was just starting to get a little weak in the winter. So if I wanted to go and ride it, even if I had it on a charger, it wasn't doing well starting in the 30s and 40s. So I went ahead and purchased a lithium battery for it. And the reason I did that is I didn't want to have to keep running a charger. I didn't want to have to trickle charge it all the time. I wanted to know that I could just go out there and start it. Now, as an example, this bike was last ridden last week of September. It's now the middle of January. This bike has been covered until 5 minutes ago. It's not been started. Let's see how the lithium battery does after sitting for all of November, December, and half of January. All right. All right, that's why I went with lithium. Because I want to leave my bike for however long I need to, and I want to step out and I just want to start that bike. And for the last 3 years, let's turn the bike off. All right, that's a little bit better. Now, for the last 3 years that I've had lithium in this bike, I ride it in the winter once a month, maybe twice, and it goes down to 0 degrees. And I do not trickle charge that battery. I just leave the bike sitting there. And then when it's 38, 40 degrees, and I feel like riding that bike because I don't want to leave it sitting all winter, I just hit the button and that lithium battery starts. And the reason I bought this one was it had relatively decent reviews and it was inexpensive. I paid like $100 tops. Welcome to my shelter logic. This is pretty much where I store stuff. Just anything I have no other space for goes inside of it. If you're looking for something to cover your bike, these are like $250, 15 feet by 10 feet. Not half bad. But I thought I would show you why I do not like having a standard battery and why I prefer lithium. When I purchased the 790 Adventure, it came with this off-brand battery that was lithium, and I thought I would be fine. Unfortunately, after riding it across the country in South Dakota for 3 days, it stopped turning the bike over very well at all. It sounded really weak, despite having the appropriate amount of voltage. So, Javier and I went looking for a place to find a battery off-season in South Dakota. And it was a pain. There were 2 places that had batteries. Neither one had a lithium. So the 790 Adventure does have a lead-acid battery because that's all that was available. And this is the pain that creates. I've got to pop the bike open. I've got to connect something to it. I went with a Noco Genius. This thing was like $20 when I bought it. And honestly, it works just fine. It keeps the bike at 12.4 volts at all times. And it does its job. But who wants this? I paid $85 for that battery. I could have gotten a lithium for a little bit more. When you add in the NOCO, the power I'm using, and the lead acid battery, I'm not ahead at all. It's just a pain to use. It's a pain to have it connected. And I've got to put all of this together if I want to ride the bike, as opposed to going out and just hitting the starter switch. If you are thinking, do I want a lithium battery when it comes time to replace my factory battery? I strongly recommend you do it. It is absolutely great. It's convenient. It's not that expensive. Now, one of the things to be careful of is do buy a decent name brand battery. The reason for that, and Greg touched on this in his video, is you need a BMS. There are two things you need to be concerned with. Primarily, your concern is lithium batteries should not be charged below freezing. So if for any reason you're riding your bike below freezing, wow, that's crazy, you could damage the battery if it didn't have a BMS. And then some people are concerned with thermal runaway, but that's not really a problem as a rule with the chemistry used in motorcycle batteries. But in theory, you could have a thermal runaway. And what that means is the energy in the battery starts generating heat until it catches fire, literally. So having a BMS is not going to let that happen. Any changes in the voltage, the BMS will shut it down and prevent it from creating a thermal runaway. And I should mention, I now buy batteries that have a bump start feature. ATZ has a line of batteries that keep a little bit of power separate. So if for some reason, if you're someone like me that runs way too many things off your battery and they don't all cut off automatically, if you run your battery down, you press a button on that battery and it can now jump start the other side of the battery. I think it costs about $30 or $40 more for an ATZ with that feature versus a generic battery with a BMS. But if, like me, you've ever left stuff on, wow, will you be grateful you spent that $30 or $40, and I highly, highly recommend it. All right, sorry about the production value for this, but hey, I'm technically on vacation and visiting my wife for her birthday, and I just wanted to get this out because why not? I love creating content, and Greg had a great idea. So, Greg, thanks for the idea. I appreciate it. I hope you don't mind I made a video. I obviously waited until yours was done. All right, everybody. Go get yourselves a lithium battery. If you stuck around, I appreciate it, and take care. Now, I mentioned that I do use ATZ batteries now. I am looking forward to trying out a Chemimoto, as I've used a lot of their products, including their battery products, and enjoyed them. I don't normally do this, but I will say I don't recommend the Bike Master. This battery, I could test it right now, is going to show up with the appropriate voltage. However, even though it's supposed to have enough power for the 790 Adventure, it does not if it's cold. This ran just fine all summer long, no complaints at all, but when it came time to start the bike in 28 degrees one day and 32 degrees the next, this inexpensive or cheap lithium battery did not do the job. So my recommendation is be careful, check reviews, get a battery that's going to work for you, get one that's tested. This one, not so much. I took a look at some reviews afterwards. Again, it came with the bike. I didn't buy it. I wouldn't buy this.